Hello, Vivians, and welcome to the third channel. Now, housekeeping has time to come upon us before we all begin. Woo! Woo! What do we hear in the channels? But, so, with this channel, as you can see, there's content on it. Now, if you follow the Tom Mason Empire, you'll see that the Taskmaster was stealing the content. But no. He's not actually, it's me just moving the content over there. Not deleting them from this channel because it'll be too much of a hassle. And I don't want it to look weird on that social blade thing. And so I'm keeping all the content here. Now, that's all good and well. But on the TGM Productions, we've got In Development, which is a series of behind the scenes nonsense. That came out. And we've got some short videos I randomly found. My favourite is Don't Ask, because when you watch it, I generally don't know what I was thinking when I made that video. So Don't Ask is a good video because I thought not to ask. Another video, that Christmas one, that's good because I had to change it because the title was Where's Christmas? But I thought I'll make it more of a gag that, yeah, it was a few years ago now. Anyway, let's not talk about the sadness that is my life, but let's move on to what we all want to talk about.
These intros are getting better and better, mate.
Yeah. Yes. Let's move on to what we want to talk about, Wellington Paranormal. Now let's ditch away the third channel for a second here, and let's let the audio listeners understand that if you're watching the video version, you're watching on the third channel, which is the weird side. That makes sense. But let's begin talking about what we hear in the shadows. Now, let's begin with the intro. He is your host, Xander Langwiston.
And he's your host, Tom Mason.
And let's see if this works.
It might be that way. I might have to point that way.
It's both ways. And, both ways. And welcome to
What we hear in the shadows. Yeah.
That sort of worked.
We need to start trying this. We do need to start trying this. Well, maybe next time we should do like a what we do here. But I messed it up already.
Like you're doing a gangster rap.
No, like I say what, and then you say we.
But I say what, you say we. What? We.
I regret this. I want to go back to bed.
Well, funny story. Before we get in the episode, there's a podcast. Their most recent episode, and they're both doing whatever. So she's talking, and then her co-host is blow drying her hair. So every time you hear her talk, she's like, yeah, and she blow drying her hair, and then she says, "I'll mute you." Or drying her hair, and she was looking for something because she lost something. So you just
fantastic.
That's why you sit at a desk. Yes. And I thought to mention in my housekeeping section for listeners of the visual version or watchers, shall I say, I've got a brand new gaming chair. Now you're probably getting hopes up saying that Tom's going to become an elite gamer on the Who Gamer. Yeah, no, that was, I mean, the height of gaming you'll get from me is watching me try and not kill myself with a dart or watch me lose at a physical game of Uno.
Hey, I'm really good at Uno.
Wow. Well, we'll get on to it. Now, today we're talking about Wellington Paranormal Series 1, Episode 2. And I did say last time we will try and hunt for a format. There wasn't any podcast we could steal from because no podcast at the end of the day have a format. and because we're talking about a TV show, we're limited because it's not like out in the blue they're going to announce series 4 of what we do in the shadows. Ha ha! I got you there. What's his face? Cosmo,
Oh,
whatever it's called.
Guillermo.
Guillermo. The actor Harvey, what's his face, announced that he'd finished filming series 4.
Wow.
On his Instagram. I found it on a What We Do in the Shadows Facebook group.
I've actually seen this. I have seen this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exciting.
It looks like he's stuck because it's trying to say it was a blur.
I still haven't seen season 3. I've been waiting. I've been waiting for the podcast to catch up.
We'll crack on and then we can. So, episode 2. Was it an improvement on episode 1?
No. I have thoughts. I have some thoughts.
Go on.
So like, I'm nervous because we're 2 episodes into the series now, and the first 2 episodes are almost identical, and it makes me very nervous that not in plot, just in structure and in humor, and it's made me very nervous that we're about to do 20 plus podcasts on a show that has the same joke, and that same joke is repeated for the entirety of every episode, which is these guys don't know what they're doing. And like, that makes me really nervous because like, it's the same joke. I didn't find this one that funny. I thought, like, obviously them saying, like, them repeating the joke of like, oh yeah, it's like, does it look like the Led Zeppelin album cover of the crop circles? That was quite funny. And I think the rest of it's just like, you did this last episode, didn't you? Like, these guys are a bit incompetent and they don't realize that they're doing something supernatural or paranormal or whatever. And yeah, so it just felt kind of the same, and it kind of disappointed me. So I'm quite disappointed at this stage, and it, like I said, it makes me very nervous for the season going ahead.
Welcome, guys, to the first ever podcast conflict. I loved this episode, and not because of any of the Led Zeppelin references, just because there was a cow stuck in a tree.
There was a cow stuck in a tree. There was.
That's the whole point. And the fact that the sergeant pretended that there was a voice control on the door.
That was quite funny. That was funny. But like, I don't know, man. Like, once you get to the actual investigation, it's like very much like they're just doing the same bit, and it's like, yeah, we've done this bit, and that's what makes me nervous, because like in the movie it's really funny because they don't know what's going on, and so it's a 5-minute done bit, like they're in it and they're out of the movie. Whereas here we've got, how many are the 3 seasons of this?
Yeah, 3 seasons, 6 episodes each.
So there's like 18 episodes, and like if they're all the same joke, like, oh yeah, they just don't know what's going on. They're just very straight laced. It's like it sort of loses me a bit, because like you've got to sort of move it on a bit. And I mean, I know we're only 2 episodes in, so I'm hoping it changes in the next couple of episodes. But I don't know.
Well, I think I do agree with your point, but I feel like because they're based off, because they've come out of the film, and because of the year gap, they've sort of got to try and pretend it's come from scratch, and try and like not wipe out what happened in the film, but just say, if you've not seen the film, it's not integral to the enjoyment of the show. And this episode sort of, it was good, but I just didn't think I liked the ending of it. I know I'm jumping the gun a little bit because we've only just begun, but I just don't like how like the end of
they wrap things up really quickly.
Yeah, because I've seen the whole thing before. I know that what happens at the end of this episode never actually comes up ever again.
Yeah.
So you never see the ghost, like not ghost, zombieified Minogan O'Leary. You never see those again.
Right. Well, it's just like everything. This is what happened in the last episode as well. Everything just gets wrapped up. They make this plot, and they've got to 18 minutes of a 21-minute episode, and then they're like, "Oh no, we haven't wrapped this up. Let's just do one line of dialogue, and it's done." And it's like, in a sense, that is kind of funny because, like, it's just like it seems like this big problem, and then it's just, oh, it's over. Right, okay, it's over. But I just didn't find it. It's a little. It feels a little dissatisfying. Maybe we're thinking too much into it. I don't know.
Well, I mean, because we're doing a podcast about it, we have to think.
We do have to think too much into it.
Yeah, and it's like it's got a different way to it, because I feel like it doesn't look as good either, because when you see the UFO, that's not real.
Well, it's just really I mean, like bad CG I can kind of get over, because it's just it's a New Zealand public TV show at the end of the day. Like they won't have much money behind it. So like I'm okay with like it just works, because it's like it's off in the background, it's not up close or anything, and most of the other special effects are just like plants and puppets and stuff like that, and like that's fine. I'm okay with that. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, well, with what it airs on TVNZ in New Zealand, which is a free-to-air channel, so they won't have the best budget, but they haven't. But I feel like they could have put more budget in this, because they've got enough budget to buy Treasure Island.
But like, I don't.
Treasure Island.
This doesn't need that much budget though. If we're honest, it needs like a police station set. You need to buy like police uniforms, and then whatever the monster of the week is, you just get a guy in a suit for it, or something like that, and that's realistically it most of the time.
Don't think you could get a guy in a suit to play a plant.
You know what I mean, like in a plant suit.
Yeah.
Just in a costume.
But I rewatched it last night, so I was prepared for this. We were recording this on a Friday, by the way, and there was the little monster, the little tree thing, reminded me of another creature, because I started watching a new program called Elves, I think, or 11. It's a Danish series, and it's this creature, but this creature looked really familiar to the plant thing.
Oh.
And I was a little bit disconcerted, because this creature thing was like spewing out like black spit.
Oh.
And it looked really similar to this tree from Wellington Paranormal. I'm thinking, that tree's turned into a weird monster that could be hit by any car coming near it. But I think that the overall plot worked well. I just think if you were going to put a cow in a tree, you would Photoshop it better. If you have to be critical about
I mean, like, again, it just comes down to budget, and they're like, realistically, they can do this on minimal budget. So I don't really.
I can make it look better for free. You don't even need a budget.
And I guess for that as well, it's supposed to like maybe part of the comedy is that it's obviously fake. Like maybe that's just the joke. But yeah, I think my problem, like I feel like I'm going to end up repeating myself a lot. But like most of my problems is just with the structure of the last two episodes being almost identical, and I'm like, like I said, I hope it does change, because if it doesn't change, it's just the same for the next 16 episodes, then this is going to be a very, very long podcast.
Well, I mean, what was, I think, the worst one-off character have got to be the twin brothers. What do you think?
I think, I don't know, they served a purpose. They were just like odd people, and they played it quite well. Like when they're walking through the cornfield, and the guy's following, he's like, oh, just hang back a bit, and the guy he stood like this, and they just retract backwards a bit. Like I found that quite, like, quite humorous. But yeah, I think they served a purpose. They're not, I mean, yeah, that's it. They served a purpose to the story. They
Well,
needed to be there, and they did it all right.
I think the best gag of the episode had got to be the whole walkie-talkie thing. Oh, these are quite cheap. We haven't got enough range on them.
That was quite, yeah, I did like that as well.
That made me go, whoa, ha, 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 ha. Which is a poor
That made you laugh like that?
That's a poor impression of my laugh there.
That's also quite maniacal. It's quite an evil laugh.
I'm the son of Dracula. Oh, no.
I've come to suck your blood.
I've come to take your cow away without you knowing. That sounds a little bit like Mario. Oh, mommy!
Yahoo!
Yahoo!
Luigi time.
But I don't know much about the New Zealand police themselves, but I like the gag where they're like, "Oh, this hat doesn't fit me. I think I've got your hat. I think I've got the wrong hat."
Yeah, they just switch hats. They're just like, no, it's the same hat.
What was your favorite segment? What corner of the episode would you say that you liked?
Honestly, it would probably be just the first section. When he shows that picture of the cow in a tree, and you're like, okay, and then he says to those two, like, come with me. It's a private matter, and then they go and sit in the office and they discuss it, and like that. I think that's like sort of the best moment,
yeah,
for the show, because after that it just, like I said, it feels really like samey.
Well, good news for the viewers or listeners, depending on who you are. We've in about, I don't know, 2 seconds, we have a segment that I'm bringing back for one more episode only. It's called Who Can Read the Transcript?
Why are we doing this? Why?
You watch me. Well, you watch me read the transcript for the episode Crop Circle. Now, we've been thinking, as at the Tom Mason Empire, we've been thinking, how can we make this podcast more interesting? So I don't read the transcript because we don't want that. But I brought the transcript up just because I thought it was a good segue to give you all ideas. We want ideas from you guys. You. Yes, you. Yes, you. The one that's looking around thinking, who am I talking to? It's you. It's you. It's what you're the one that's watching, that's listening. It's you. It's you. Yes, it's you.
Why is this still happening? What is going on?
Well, anyway, we need your ideas. We're not going to set up an email so you can email us because we've got a comment section. We want your ideas for games we can play to talk about the episodes. So, I reckon we should play a game. The game is, can you guess the first line in the episode?
What?
We've seen the episode. You got to guess the first line in the
episode.
I got to
guess the first line in the episode.
Yes.
Is it right, folks?
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, why not?
No. The first line in the episode is, firstly, congratulations to Constable Avaloy, probably misread, Stephen, Lumsky, and Parker for successfully removing a cow from a tree on Friday morning.
I would have never got that. Never got that.
The second line, can you guess the second line?
Oh my God. I hate this. Yes. I hate this.
Can you guess the second line? The second line's easier.
Is it, unfortunately, we found another cow in a tree?
No, it's Big News Day. That one. Great job, guys. See, this is why you listen to the podcast. The final line, which is the worst line in the whole episode, is, yeah, leave it to me. Copy that.
That's right.
Yeah. That's the worst line in the episode. And what's even funnier is that I can now go to episode 3 transcript as well. I've got a whole website full of these transcripts.
What? No, please don't.
No,
Please go off that website.
Well, if anyone wants to read this transcript, I'm not going to tell you where I found it. So, no, you can't. So, here's another. Welcome to a new segment I've just invented right on the spot called What If?
What if?
What if? And if Marvel are watching, it's not copyright. It's a long pause makes it more funny, guys. What if? What would you do if there was a cow stuck in a tree?
Take a picture, video it, and like flip it off. Just like laugh at it. Like, what an idiot! How have you done that? You big mooer.
Would the fire department be able to get a cow out of a tree? Or is that too heavy?
I think so. I think the fire department could do that.
It could.
I think that, yeah, I'm sure they could do that. They've got the facilities for that. They probably just, I mean, someone will probably just end up shaking the tree. They'd kill the cow and then like eat the cow.
Well, this segment was utterly stupid.
Do you know?
Yes.
There's a tree in Morocco, and it's like full of goats.
I knew there was a tree in Morocco, but I didn't know they were full of goats.
Yeah, there's a big tree of goats.
Do they grow on the tree?
No, they don't grow on them, but they just sit in them. Moroccan goat tree. They genuinely sit in a tree, and it's so bizarre. Like, I've been to visit it. It's the weirdest thing.
Because there's goats in the actual tree.
There's goats in the actual tree. I'm gonna send you it on Messenger, and like, if I don't know if you want to put it in the video or whatever.
Well, I will do because I want. I'm intrigued now. I'm very intrigued. The viewers, if you're watching it on YouTube, are also very intrigued. I will describe what the image looks like.
It is. Oh, why does it keep saving things as a GIF? I don't want a GIF.
A GIF?
Yeah, it keeps saving files. I want a JPEG. Like, come on.
Well, I don't like the WE.
That's a WebP. What on earth is a WebP?
I have no idea. I think because it's a natural phenomenon, we need to get Malaria and Minogue on it.
There we go. I finally got a JPEG to send you.
Woo! We love JPEGs on this podcast. Now
we do love JPEGs. There you go. Look, I've sent it you on Messenger. Look how weird and hilarious that tree is. It's just full of goats.
Oh, plastic goats, not actual goats.
No, they're real goats. I've been to it. I've seen this in real life. They are real goats.
So for the viewers, you're looking at it right now. But for the audio listeners, well, you can imagine it's like in Madagascar, there's trees. Or it's like the tree in Madagascar, with goats on it who look plastic.
They're not plastic, they're real. I promise you they are real.
Well,
I promise.
Wow.
It's weird. It's so weird.
Wow. So, with this podcast, because as you can tell, we already moved on to talking about Moroccan goats on trees. From where we were talking, this podcast will be having a few corrections to it. Now, if you are a fan of the show, do come on the podcast. I am gonna see if I can get the other what do we do in the Shadows podcast people on, the hosts of that, so we can get guests on, because I feel like this podcast needs a guest because we've already tailed off from that. I already started reading a transcript. Now, I'm gonna say this in the best way possible, but is Wellington Paranormal better than What Do We Do in the Shadows?
No.
Oh.
An emphatic no.
Wow.
What we do in the shadows? Are we saying the movie or the TV show?
I just said what do we do in the shadows. It depends on which one.
I mean, at the moment, I'm only 2 episodes in, but this is the lowest ranking of all 3 of them. It goes TV show, movie, this. I think the TV show is excellent. And it takes the concept of what we do in the shadows and expands on it, which is what I wanted this to do. And so far, this has not done that. This has just done the same thing and like changed the genre slightly every week. So it's different horror. It's like a Monster of the Week thing, but with like no other changes.
Yeah, so. I feel like you watch it and think, oh, this is going to be really good, and you enjoy the first episode, but then the others just. So I enjoyed it all because I watched it one big go, but watching it when I do the podcast, I do see where the tropes just become monotonous.
Yeah. I'm hoping, like I said, that there's a change up in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And maybe the change ups will just be the jokes land better, because I just don't think all of the jokes landed in this one.
Yeah.
So maybe maybe that's why I'll prefer in the next couple of weeks if the jokes are better. And maybe I won't see the tropes as much.
Yeah.
But in this, it just feels like the same joke over and over again.
Yeah, but I quite liked. Well, I quite liked it, but I didn't like it at the same time. The bit where I've got the transcript, so I can properly tell you what I'm on about. It's a bit where towards the end when they're rounding it off, and they say that we're always on it. We're never on it. We never miss anything. We'll be on it next time. And then it all happens behind them in the background.
Yeah, that's just an easy gag in it. There's literally a UFO behind them and they're not noticing it.
But I feel like from seeing the whole show, it feel like to me that the first series is trying to work out what works, what doesn't work. I feel like,
yeah,
because it's lasted so long, and there is a 4th series coming out for it.
Yeah,
so there will be another series that they announced that.
Yeah, maybe it is just like finding its feet. First couple of episodes.
Yeah.
If I'm watching a TV show and I'm not into it, I normally give it to episode 3. And if by episode 3 I'm still not like oh, okay, I can see where this is going, then I just turn it off, because like 3 episodes in, that's what, like an hour. That's an hour, and like if you're watching a movie, you give it like 20 minutes, don't you?
Yeah.
It's like a third.
Yeah, so. It's like when you watch a pilot of it's like the first series of the US Office. That was trying to duplicate what the UK Office did, but then found its feet afterwards.
It did, yeah. There are examples like the US Office, Parks and Rec as well. The first season of that isn't very good, and then it finds its feet in the second and third season.
Yeah. And then Unity.
There's loads of examples of stuff like that get, but like there's also there's other examples like people say that like Arrow and stuff like that. Arrow's good for one season and bad for another, and then like it winds me up that saying like, oh yeah, just if you keep going through the rubbish stuff, then it does get good in like season 4. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not watching 3 seasons of bad television to get to a half decent season.
Yeah, it's like Community is good for the first few series, and then the final series, because it was on Yahoo streaming, it collapsed.
Yeah, Community is a really fun one. I love the first 3 seasons. The first 3 seasons are absolutely perfect, and then 4 is awful. 5 is a real mixed bag, and then 6 is also pretty terrible.
Was it apparently supposed to be a movie?
6 seasons and a movie.
Yeah,
they'll make it. They'll make the movie one day. They will.
But what do we do in the shadows when movie 3 series
and now 4 apparently?
Yeah, but I feel like that Wellington Paranormal doesn't. If it was its own thing and had nothing to do with what do we do in the shadows universe at all, it would be all right.
Yeah.
But because it's trying to keep hold of what the film did, it's trying to too much.
I mean, it feels like, I feel like you could watch this on its own, but I feel like it's using the humor from like the same similar type of humor from the movie, and it just doesn't translate as well. I don't know, but like I said, I'm hoping that it does get funnier because I do want to like this. Like, you know, if we're doing a podcast on it, I definitely want to enjoy it.
Now, I've just seen, looking at the transcript real briefly, I've just seen a quote that actually I've just clicked on it and it tells me what point, how far into the episode the quote was used. That's really, someone must be really into this program to do that. But the line was, and the cows are safe, and the people and cows can rest assured on the New Zealand police force. You know, we take this sort of thing very seriously. And it's like, what? But I think that this episode was almost there, but fell flat a little bit. And there's not, if you Google Wellington Paranormal, there isn't anyone reviewing it.
No, not really. Not really.
We're the pioneers of telling people go and watch it, but there is some of it's a little bit of a stinker.
Yeah, but every show has that. So that's all good.
It's teething.
Teething. That's exactly what it is. It's teething.
Yeah.
It's finding its feet. That's all. Like a baby giraffe.
Yeah. So the first series of the TV version of What Do We Do in the Shadows was just phenomenal. Because that had already found its feet with the film.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. But yeah, I don't think there's much else we can really say about this one.
No, there isn't. And so this is one of the shortest episodes. I can't believe that I read the transcript again. I'm a little bit appalled with myself. Now, as you can tell, we're talking about it, but we're not well versed in reviewing episodes of programs because I run other podcasts that aren't that great, but I run them nonetheless. And Xander run the podcast that is great, where he reviews all films and tortures himself and all sorts. So filming
podcast.
And
hey,
I was a guest on that. The episode was well, how do I put it? You can hear me more than anyone else.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
You could, because when I was laughing, you could really tell it was me that was laughing. I'm thinking, I haven't got time to work out if I'm laughing or not.
Yeah, episode 95. Go check it out. It was a good time.
A good episode. So if you want to chip in and say you're a good people, it's a good podcast, but you need to do this, and this, do please chip in. And if you're watching this from the Facebook group Podcast Support, help. I mean, it's a good podcast. I'm not saying it's not, and it's a good show. It's just that we're sort of missing something. Something we're missing to make this more well-rounded. If you watch my other podcasts, like my Avengers one, not the Marvel ones, the 60s TV show, that wasn't that great, that first episode, because I didn't remember any characters' names. And we watched an episode that was missing half the episode itself anyway. And you watched my Friday Night Dinner one. There isn't an episode that's great of that podcast. And you watch my Doctor Who one. And that is a good one. Because I just talk about anything Doctor Who. And then you watch my Taskmaster World one. That's good. Apart from one where it's me on my own because I glitch and have issues. But this podcast can be brilliant. We can talk about Wellington Paranormal and not feel that it's letting us down and not feel that this episode wasn't that great. We need your support. We need you. Not the same person I was saying earlier. Some other use.
Okay.
We need you. So if you can help us to make this podcast even better than it already is, because this was a fantastic episode, leave it in the comment section on YouTube or wherever you're watching this. And if you're reviewing this on Apple Podcasts, 5 stars and give us some feedback. If you think it's rubbish, tell us why. We want your feedback. And maybe, just maybe, next time we can be reading your responses, or you could even be on the podcast yourself if you pester us enough. Or if you want to learn more about Wellington Paranormal and watch it for yourself to find out if episode 2 was a stinker, go and watch it in the UK on Now TV and Sky, in the US on the CW, and in New Zealand TVNZ. And it turns out in Australia, SBS on demand, you can watch it there. But I don't know about the rest of the world. Go and enjoy! Now, the only bit of the podcast that's stapled, I don't have an unstaple, so I can't undo it. What would you get? How many paranormal ratings would you give this episode out of 155,000?
Out of 155,000, I'm going to give it a very solid 77,500.
Wow. I was just going to give it 77.
Oh, so less than half.
Yeah. Because it was
Wow.
good, but I feel like series 2 is better.
Then let's get through season 1, baby. Let's do it. Let's get through season 1.
I'll say caca. Thank you for watching. I have been your paranormal investigator and backed expert Tom Mason, and over there, depends on whose screen, that has been your or what's it called? Or whatever KMO is. KMO.
A familiar.
A familiar. I was trying to think of is she familiar or my why am I
I'm Xander.
Xander.
Yeah, I'm Xander.
This outro is becoming weird because I was trying to point. And if you're watching the YouTube video, you'll know.
You're just leaning off the screen.
You're man. I'm like, no, wait, no. Me taken by the paranormal creature. It's that plant creature. It's attacking me. Well, after that.
Let's wrap this up. Thanks everyone for listening.
Well, let's end it there. And I like to say, like I said last time, and I can say always, remember, I've forgotten.